What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here, and I want to talk to you about the MSF course that we took. And when I say we, I mean Nikki and I took an MSF course this last weekend, less than like 6 days ago. We took it last Saturday, last Sunday. It was the MSF BRC01, which is the beginner rider course for absolutely beginners. Nikki and I took it, and we passed it. It was awesome. We took it with Ride Arizona Motorcycle Training Centers with Trina and Steve. I had so much fun. I have bullet points here, and honestly, when I'm trying to focus on the bullet points, it messes me up. It honestly does. I do have a few things here that I do want to talk about, but this is a Friday video. This is kind of coming straight from me, and I'm just going to tell you how I felt. I'm going to tell you about how everything went and how everything was. In the background, you're seeing some footage of the actual course, what we did and how we did it, and it was awesome. So if you like this kind of stuff, if you want to see more motorcycle training type stuff, please click subscribe or become a patron. All the links to that stuff will be in the description, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we took Ride Arizona Motorcycle Training Center's BRC01 with Trina and Steve. Trina is like the head instructor, and Steve is the assistant according to him. But he's a very good instructor. Both of them are very good instructors. They're married. They're a couple. It's a family-owned business type thing, and it was a lot of fun. But you know, why did I take the MSF course, especially the very beginner one? I'm more of an experienced rider, but why did I take the absolute beginner one where you don't have to know anything? You just have to kind of know how to ride a bicycle. That's all you had to do. I wanted to see what the beginner rider looked like. I remember what it looked like. I remember what it felt like because I was a beginner rider at some point. But I didn't understand the fears. I didn't understand, what it truly did look like when it became, when it was a new rider. And in an MSF course, you are in a position of safety. You feel comfortable. You're in a safe environment. Excuse me. If something happens, it's not your motorcycle that you crash. So they do give you a lot of leeway with that, and I saw what a beginner rider looks like. My girlfriend was definitely a beginner rider. There was someone else in there that was a definite beginner rider, and it's good to see. And at the end of the day, everyone passed because they became that much improved. But it was really nice to see what a beginner rider looked like, the fears that they have, the issues that you could be running into, things that I feel like I wouldn't run into, like just starting the bike. Like that to me is like the easiest thing ever. But it can be a little daunting. It's a lot to work on. It's a lot to think about when it comes to starting riding. You're already nervous about other things. And starting the bike, sitting on the bike, make sure the clutch is in, all that stuff is a little difficult. A lot of it is nerve-wracking, and for a beginner, that is almost too much. But at the end of the day, the goal for going to this class was so that when I do become an instructor, because that is the end goal, is becoming instructors, I want to see what the very beginning was. I wanted to see what the students looked like, and I also wanted to see what the instructors did and how they handled it. So I kind of sat back a lot in this class. I just did what I was told. I was, I was a student, and I just focused on that. And since I already had the skills of what we were being taught, I didn't focus on being perfect or improving those skills. I felt like I wanted to see what everyone else was doing. I wanted to see what the instructors, how they were teaching, and that is kind of what I did. So I felt like almost like a witness to the class. I just paid to get into it and obviously get my MSF course certificate and everything. So now I actually have the BRC01 certificate, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I definitely wanted to learn and see what the instructors did, and I want to learn how to do it the right way. And what you usually do when it comes to instructors is that you have multiple kinds of instructors, and you only take the good, out of each instructor. You remove the bad out of each one, and you kind of become your own thing. And Trina and Steve, man, they were, that's who I want to be. Like there was like some things where it's like, and that's the cool thing about them being a couple is like he complimented her, she complimented him, and like they did the best, like something that she might have not explained very well, he would explain very well. He wouldn't explain very well, she'd explain it very well, and they worked with each other, and I think that is the way to do it. And they bickered like an old married couple, and it was awesome, but it was very respectful. It was never like, ooh, this is awkward. It was never like that. It was always so fun. It was so fun. There was always laughter. Everyone was trying to have fun, and I honestly want to become instructors just like them as them, you know, make everything fun for new riders, make everything so comfortable for new riders, and then discuss and just go over the basic stuff. Getting people on the road is very important. So yeah, Nikki took the course with me, and we finally went there, and we finally decided to do the course because of you guys, the patrons, the DDFM crew patrons, guys. The link's in the description for that, but thank you. I have all the patrons popping up here, and it was because of you guys I'm able to afford to take her to the course. Now she has her own bike that we're making payments on and everything, and we're gonna do a new video series showing how she can become a better rider and everything. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for making that happen to where we're able to put her in a class and then me in the class with her. That way I can provide support and answer any questions that maybe she has a question on. Like I said, having Trina and having Steve, they answered every single question, but there's always, you can always maybe hear it from a different perspective and then get it that way, if that makes sense. So anything that she had a question on, she asked them, and then she's like, I still kind of have a question. And since I knew Nikki, since I've been, and I know how she thinks, and I know how she interacts with people, it's like, okay, this is what they meant. She's like, oh, okay, I get it now. So their information is perfect. I just like I'd listen, and then if she had a question, I would pop it in. And I do that for all the other people in the class too. So it was really cool. She was very scared, very anxious, and she was an absolute new rider. And watching Trina and Steve from Ride Arizona Motorcycle Training Centers just take her under, you know, their wing and just like walk her through everything. It's super excited for her. There was like positive reinforcement out the ass. It was awesome. I loved it. And the thing is, you got to make people excited. You got to make people having fun. Because if you're not having fun, if you're not having fun learning, you're gonna be thinking too much. You're gonna be too anxious. You're gonna be too scared, and you're like, I don't want to do this. And when you start getting that negative thought of I don't want to really be on the bike, you're gonna start making mistakes. And it's not like, you know, I don't want to be playing video games. You know, it's like, fine, turn off the you know, the Xbox or the computer or something, right? But when you're on a motorcycle, it's like, I don't really want to be learning this, and you are learning it. You could crash and hurt yourself. You can't hurt yourself when you shut off the game console. Does that make sense? So when you're not having a good time on a motorcycle, it can be dangerous. So they made it very fun. They made it very exciting and like positive when you did something good. And all that was like super positive if you found the friction zone on the clutch. Super positive if you made that left turn. I mean, it's not like, okay, you finally passed it, good job. No, it's like you made that turn. Yes, it was awesome. I had a lot of fun, and they made it fun for Nikki, so she was calm. They made it fun for all the riders, so they were calm and they were enjoying it, so they were learning in a positive environment. That is super huge, the motorcycle behavior, the rider behavior when it comes to learning. So if you're ever like in a bad mood or you feel like, you know, stressed out, don't try to learn that day. Like if you're training at home and you're out riding around, you're like, man, I'm just not having a good day. You're gonna be thinking of that. You're not gonna be thinking about riding. That is huge. Just go home and try it again tomorrow. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. You have every single day, and it's better to go home when you're in a bad mood than to go out in a bad mood and not really be thinking crash, and now you can't ride tomorrow. Now you can't practice tomorrow. You can't practice next week and all that stuff. So it's better just to go home and practice tomorrow and have fun. You know, and if it's a couple days, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I've actually done that a few times. Yesterday, Nikki and I went training, and she was getting tired, and we were barely starting, and it's like, let's go home. We have tomorrow. She's like, no, I want to keep playing. I want to keep, you know, training. And I'm like, no, let's just go tomorrow. We have all day tomorrow too. You know, we'll relax. Let's have some, you know, we're tired, you know. We're not going to learn anything, and we're going to just, you know, make mistakes that shouldn't have been made. So super happy with taking the MSF course. I highly recommend it. I've been recommending taking the MSF course, the BRC01, for the longest time. The BRC01 is just the beginner rider course. There's BRC02, which is the beginner rider course second class, and what you do is you basically bring your motorcycle to do the beginner class. The very, very beginner class, you use their motorcycles, so that's really cool. But I highly recommend, I've always recommended going to that, and now that I finally have, I highly recommend going to Ride Arizona Motorcycle Training Centers here in Tucson, Arizona, and doing that. I mean, there's a ton of different companies out there. There's Ride Arizona, there's the Harley, you know, the course that the Harley puts on. But if you're out here in Tucson, Arizona, you need to try out And you need to use Ride Arizona motorcycle training centers because they know what they're doing. Trina and Steve know what they're doing. But if you guys want to learn more about that kind of stuff, if you want to learn more about, you know, motorcycle training, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with Nikki, and she's going to have a ton of fun. We're going to be practicing that, and we're going to see how she goes from a brand new rider all the way up to where hopefully she gets to where I'm at, so we can go and have some fun on some group rides, if that makes any sense. So if you like that kind of stuff, please join patreon.com/DanDanTheFireman. Join the Discord, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, any of that stuff. I have all the links in the description, and I'll be seeing you guys later, okay?